there! So today it's finally time for my vintage colored pencil collection. I promised you a couple of weeks ago when I showed you my color pencil collection that I would make a video about my vintage pencils, and today is the day. Some of these pencils you may have seen in my summer art haul video. Other pencils I have bought recently, and some pencils I bought a while ago, but I have never shown them to you and I have never told you that I have bought them. And they are very, very special. But more about that later. My name is Katja, I'm Cat Coloring, and welcome to my channel. This video is completed with timestamps, so if you want to, skip to the parts you want to watch the most, then you can do it. Or you can just watch it just like the video is and then wait for the surprise at the end of the video. But if you're very curious, you can also just skip from the beginning here and go to the end and then watch the rest after, if you're really curious and you can't wait to see what a surprise I have for you. Anyway, sit back, relax, grab yourself perhaps a cup of coffee or a mug of tea, and let's get started with this one. So I never set out to become a collector or anything. I have, as you know from my other video, I have purchased quite a few different coloring pencil brands, but as a YouTuber I have done this, to make reviews of them and to try them out. Some of them I really, really wanted because I had heard a lot of things about them from others and I really wanted to try them out myself. And others were mainly bought and purchased here with review purposes in mind. And as you know from that video, some of them I'm not quite sure that I want to keep, long-term and use long-term. But the vintage colored pencil collection never was, I didn't really think about it, and I haven't decided if I wanted to be a collector. It just sort of, happened along the way. So first of all, I live in Denmark, and it's not that easy to get a hold of some of the coloring pencil brands because not a lot of sellers here in Denmark, you can buy them, and especially open stock. So it's really difficult to get a hold of a lot of the popular coloring pencils. The polychromos are not a problem because it's a German brand, and as I live in Denmark and German is my next door neighbor country, it's easy for me to get a hold on Staedtler and Faber-Castell because they are sold in almost every bookstore in Denmark and also Norway and Sweden. So it's really easy for me to get a hold of, for example, the Polychromos and the Albrecht Dürer and just normal Staedtler, Ergosoft and so on. But when it comes to Prismacolors, for example, that is an issue because only recently, in the last few years, you have been able to purchase the sets in Denmark. 10 years ago, you simply couldn't. So it's within these last 2 or 3 years that you can buy Prismacolors in Denmark. So before, you had to get them from the United States, from Amazon US. And that was also before Amazon had a German branch. So now you can get a lot of things from Amazon Germany. But when I began acquiring these coloring pencils and I bought my first Prismacolor set, that was before the COVID pandemic. So it was, I think it was in 2018 or 19, and I had to get them from the United States. And as the time went, you could see from my box I showed you, I lacked a lot of pencils because I was beginning to use the pencils up. A store in Denmark sells them open stock, but they don't get supplies a lot. And most of the pencils, especially the ones I use, the colors I use, are almost always sold out. So I had a place in England where I could get them, but then I would have to pay, tariffs and all that because England is not a part of the EU anymore, yada, yada, yada. You know the drill, because I have told you about it a couple of times. So I went on eBay. And the first time I was on eBay, it was just to get, some of the zested blending potions and so on. But then I began discovering that some sellers actually sold coloring pencils. So to make a long story short, I found a person, a seller, who had 100 Prismacolors for, it was, I think it was about $60 or just under $60. And it was a lot of, and you know, the photo, so I could see it was a lot of colors and a lot of the colors that I used. And I thought, wow, perhaps I should get that bundle of colors. And 60 of them were not used. And I thought, wow, 60 new pencils and 40 lightly used for $60. Well, I could do that. And the shipping to Denmark weren't that horrible. So I thought I would buy it. And I bought it. And they are here, and much to my surprise, because I thought, oh, this is a Prismacolor Premier I'm going to be buying. They were the original Prismacolors. You can see here, for some reason, this one hasn't any printing on it, but this one has. You can see it's Sanford before the production moved to Mexico, and the pencils were, well, weird or not that good. You can clearly say it says USA here. Sanford Prismacolor. So I had, by this purchase, where I thought, oh, I can get a lot of nice colors here. And you can also see here, I have them. I also got some Prismacolor Premier, but most of them were these more vintage ones made in the United States. Beautiful, beautiful colors. You can see here I have the lemon yellow, and then I have the ochre tones, and I have red ones, and I have a lot of nice blue ones, and there were duplicates, I have to say, but you know, the Mediterranean blue is also a very nice color, so now I certainly have Mediterranean blue to last me perhaps a lifetime. So this was the beginning. This was it. And I thought, well, wow, I hadn't expected to be so many vintage pencils in that set. So I thought they were all Prismacolor Premier, but they weren't. So that was really nice. And then a lot of people began writing on different Facebook groups that, oh, the Prismacolors were horrible because they were made in Mexico and they were off-center and they were this and that. And I thought, well, perhaps I should begin buying more of these Sanford Prismacolors, because then I knew what I had, and these were the old quality ones. I just have to say I hadn't had any serious problems with my Prismacolor set, except for the peach base, which kept breaking. So at the end it was this long and I had only used it twice. So there was clearly something wrong with that lead. But all of the other pencils worked greatly, so I hadn't had any issues with my Prismacolors at that point. So quite soon I found out that it is really possible to get large sets of coloring pencils on eBay, because a lot of people sell their old coloring pencils. Perhaps they have found them, they have kept them. And some of them have perhaps colored when they were in college, and then suddenly they stop coloring and they have all of these pencils and they want to give them to not give them, but sell them to someone who would really use them. So I have made quite a few very good buys on eBay, both with the modern day Prismacolor Premier, but also with vintage pencils. And here you can see I have a little bit of each. Here I have a Prismacolor Premier made in Mexico, so this is actually Mexico stamped. And then it moves on to Berol Prismacolors. So these I have here are mostly Berol Prismacolors, and you can see here some of them, well, they are worn, but otherwise, they are in a very good condition with a nice centered lead here. You can see it says Berol Prismacolor, and this is the Spanish Orange PC1003. And of course, when you buy these sort of collections from people, you don't get all of the colors. So it's a little bit random what colors I have here. You can see I also have a pale sage. And this one is made in the United States. So this is one of the, it doesn't say Sanford. Perhaps it could have said here, but I can't see because of this sticker here. But it says United States, USA, and then it says Prismacolor, and the color number PC1089, and then pale sage. So I have here a mixture of Sanford and Berol Prismacolors bought here. I think it was about 6 months ago here. And Of course, I haven't got all of the colors, but it doesn't really matter because some of the colors are some of the colors I use the most. Here I have a Deco Pink. Well, that's great because Deco Pink is one of these light colors I use to blend with and I use for light areas. Just like the Pale Sage and just like this one, this is the Powder Blue. And then I have a non-photo blue. I actually have quite a few non-photo blue. I think I have 10 or 11 non-photo blue in total. And I think that 1/3 of them are vintage Prismacolors and the rest are Prismacolor Premier. So, and you can see here, I certainly also have some duplicates here and there. But it doesn't really matter because, you know, I will use eventually these colors and it's nice to have these. And of course I will use my Prismacolor Premier, but eventually I do think that I will begin coloring with these because they were made for coloring. So, you know, why keep these and not color with them? It would be quite a waste, I have to say. So that was the beginning with the Prismacolor vintage pencils that I got, you know, and I hadn't thought about collecting them, but I thought that they were nice to have. And then I began thinking, oh, but perhaps I should really check out the market for these vintage pencils. And then I found a Canadian seller, and on eBay, she's called Peach Fuzz, but she has a store called That 90s Thing. And it's actually cheaper to get them from Canada because the Canadian dollar isn't as expensive as the American. And the postage is also quite cheaper from Canada than from America. So for me, it was a little bit of a win to find her. And she collects all of these vintage pencils. And then she gives them new life by selling them in small bundles to people. So she makes custom bundles, you know, red, pink, or purple, or blue and green, or just blue, and just purple, and just green, or yellow. So your pencils get a new life with the owner that will use them, of course. And here was my first sort of bundle I bought. And you can see I bought a red, purple, and pink bundle. And I did it because I looked at this and I thought that I saw a lot of nice pencils, and I especially noticed these Prismacolors, light violet and mauve. So I will not lie to you, I bought this set because of these two colors. I might as well just pick them up because, you know, the lilac and the lavender from the original Prismacolors were discontinued, and I only found out, I think it was about a year after they announced it, and I hadn't been aware, so I hadn't stocked up. So I really lacked. I only had that one lilac in my first Prismacolor box and that one lavender. And I thought, oh my gosh, I really love those colors. So how am I going? Perhaps I could get those two colors by looking on eBay. And I looked at these two and I thought that, well, it did look like the lilac. So I bought this whole bundle because of these two colors, because I thought that perhaps it was a violet. And you can see this is a Prismacolor Scholar. So this is not Prismacolor Premier. And you can also, I don't know if you can see it, but it actually says Mexico here. It's printed here on the pencils, Mexico. So this is called mauve, and this is called light violet. But it has the same color number as the Prismacolor Premier Lilac, 350. Oh, not the same number actually, because that's 956, but, you know, 356, because the Scholar numbers have a 3, and then the rest of it actually matches the Prismacolors. So let's take a little look at this. If I have a little paper here, so you can see the mauve. I'll just turn on my light to get more light. This is the mauve, and this is the light violet. And I will just get my lilac from the Prismacolor set. I have here my Prismacolor Premier Lilac. And you can see it's not quite the same color. And I have here the lavender. So you can see these color pencils are not quite the same. It's not the same match. They are lighter. The light violet is really a light color compared to the lilac. And the mauve is also lighter and not as reddish pigmented as the lavender. But beautiful colors nonetheless. So as I said, I bought this set because I thought, well, perhaps I could, by buying some of these sets, get something that could match the colors of the lavender and the lilac, because I didn't have any replacements. You can see here I have a Berol Prismacolors Scholar, also 384, a vintage one here. So I do have, there are some Berol Prismacolors here. And so you can see there's also a color difference from the Scholar, vintage Scholar, and the newer Scholar here. So these two I just showed you are the new Scholar pencils, and this one is the vintage from Berol, made in the United States. And you can see this is more color saturated and not as light as the new Scholar. So the old and the new. Yeah. But when I bought this bundle, then I got a lot of coloring pencils, and they are all vintage. So here we have and you can see here I have swatched them all out. So I have Berol Prismacolor Scholars, I have vintage Prismacolors Scholars and Prismacolor Premier, and I have some of these Berol Canadiana. And I didn't know anything about Canadiana or these Laurentians, but I asked in a Facebook group that I'm on, and some of the Canadians answered that these Canadiana, they were also made by Berol. You can see, made in Canada. This is the color Blush. It says Berol Canadiana, and then the color number 522. They were very popular some decades ago when these people were kids and they went to school, and they used these when they were kids. So they were very popular, and a lot of people seek after these Canadiana and also these Laurentians. I will just pick this one up. You can see here J. Baudouin. So this has been the property of someone called J. Baudouin. And you can see here it says Laurentian, USA, made in the United States, and it's the color Blush Pink, and number 18. Can't remember if Venus was the company that made these Laurentians. I think I've read it somewhere. So these Laurentians are quite sought off by some collectors, and they should be extremely good coloring pencils, just like the Canadiana here. Then there are others. I've got my first Crayolas. I don't have any Crayolas. They are not a brand widely sold in Europe. They are more an American brand. But you can see here I have some nice and interesting colors. This one is called Pale Rose. And if you look at the swatch chart, it's this sort of grayish color. So it's certainly not a rose-like or pinkish-like color. More like a gray color. And then here, this red-orange here, which is more of a red than an orange, a really nice color, compared to this Prismacolor from the Prismacolor Scholar from Berol, which is very orange in the color. Then, of course, when you buy these sets, you get a lot of Staedtler pencils, and you can see I have Staedtler, the triangular ones, and the normal hexagonal, and the Staedtler Norris color. And some of them are duplicates, so they are the same color. And I know Staedtler, so I know that they will be hard on a lot of paper, and some of them I can use on certain types of papers, but some of them I cannot. Moving on to these blue colors that I have here. So this was my next sort of bundle I bought from that 90s thing, the Canadian seller, and I have all of the colors here, and I can just as well admit it. I bought this set because of these three colors, the first ones here, these very beautiful turquoise colors. So you can see this pencil has been sharpened from the right end. you can see the color number will be the last to survive here on the pencil. But when you buy these vintage sets, some people have begun sharpening from the wrong end, so the color number is already missing. And if you don't have the color number, you don't quite or the color name of the color, then you don't know what color it really is, and then you would have to guess. Eventually, when you have colored for quite a while, you are very good at guessing the colors, but it is really you cannot always determine what color it is when you buy vintage sets. You can also see that the pencils, these two are the exact same, but the color here on the Berol, this one is clearly darker than this one. So perhaps this one has been in the sun and has gotten a little bit pale. You can also see we have some dirt on some of the pencils. But they still work and function, and that's what's important here. You can also see we have a Canadiana made in the United States. Perhaps it's from when Sanford took over from Berol. I don't know, because it doesn't say Berol, but you can see the color number 517E. So now we have an E, and you can also see the color differences here on the swatch chart, that these two first are the 517 from Canada, and this is made in the United States, and 517E, and this one is not quite as bright and with the blue tone as the first two. This has a more green tone, so there is a color difference. Perhaps that's why it's called E, I don't know. But you can also see that the color on the Berol is quite darker than these other two here. So because of these colors, I bought this set. But you can see I got some very, very nice colors, and a lot of Canadiana pencils here and Prismacolor Scholars in U1, but the rest of them are still vintage. Berol, Scholar, made in the United States. And you can see here on the color chart, I have both light colors and darker colors, a turquoise. And you can see here it continues with Laurentian. And then I have some Derwent Studio pencils. You can see here the colors. I have a watercolor here from Faber-Castell. It's this big one. And also some Crayolas here, blue Crayolas, including two metallic blue Crayolas here. I don't know if they are rare like the Prismacolors, well, but they are very nice and beautiful in the color. And then, of course, I have some Staedtler pencils here. And also some brands I have never heard of. Montmartre Royal Sky, a very, very beautiful blue color. And it's made in France, so that's a French coloring pencil brand. And also something called Play School and something called Artist Loft SDC Dutchy, Cobalt Blue. An Excel and a Milan and a Campus and a Norma. So, and it's also interesting to see that some of these colors are not the same, despite that you should think so. We have Montmartre Royal Sky, and then we have a Royal Blue here. It looks like the same color, and sometimes it's different. You have a Sky Blue here. The Sky Blue light and Prismacolor is certainly lighter. We have a Staedtler Triangular Ice Blue here and an Aquamarine. And here we have an Aquamarine from Prismacolor Scholar. You can see this Aquamarine is certainly lighter than the Aquamarine here. It's very dark compared to the other. And we have a Sky Blue from Derwent Studio, very light. You can hardly see it. And then the Sky Blue here, which is a normal light blue color. So very, very interesting when you get these sets here. And this is an opportunity to, when you want to make a challenge, you know, coloring with only blues, then you have so many different blue colors here you can just use. So after this set, I had to make, I convinced her to make a special set just for me. And that was a purple set. And I asked her to find as many purple, lilac, violet colors she could and most of all Prismacolors and not any other brands. And she did it. So you can ask, for example, some sellers, they will curate specific sets for you with specific brands and specific colors. And I got this, and this is my coup d'etat, or whatever you say. I'm not very good at French, but this is a Prismacolor set here with 15 purple, lilac, violet colors, and made especially for me. And here you can see that I have the swatch chart here. So I have a light lavender from, again, a Scholar, Berol Prismacolor Scholar. Then I have a Berol Prismacolor called Lavender, and another Berol Prismacolor called Lavender, one made in Mexico, the other one in Canada. I have a Scholar Mauve and a Scholar called Light Violet yet again. Then I have a Berol Prismacolor Lilac, and this was the first real lilac vintage color I got. And you can see here, if I take it out, it's this one, made in Canada, not the United States, but nevertheless, Berol Prismacolor 956, and that is the number of the lilac. So this is the vintage lilac color we can see here. And this is the modern day lilac, and you can see the difference. This is way more saturated and dark in the color than the vintage Prisma lilac. So by this time I realized that I couldn't get a replacement for this lilac with the vintage colors, because there were color differences between the vintage Prismacolor lilac colors and the modern Prismacolor Premier lilac color. There's simply a color difference. So these two, lavender and lilac, are way more color saturated than the vintage pencils were. And that's when I realized that I had to begin buying sets with modern day Prismacolor Premier pencils to get some replacements for these two colors. And I have succeeded. I can tell you that at the present I have 10 of these lilac, and they are hardly used. I think that one or two of them are a little bit used and the rest of them are not used. And I have 6 of the lavender color now, also not used. So I have a collection now to last me for the rest of my life with these colors. So I'm not on the lookout for these anymore, because I think I have enough now. And now I also have the, all of these vintage colors. But you can see here on the color chart, I'm not quite finished, because here we have an Eagle Very Thin lavender. You can also see the color differences here. The lavender, light lavender from the USA, is brighter and has a more pinkish tone than the lavender made in Mexico, which was the Berol Prismacolor one. It's a bit lighter. And then the Canadian Berol Prismacolor, which should match this color, is not the same, because it's more lilac and not that red as these two are. And then the light violet here, again, lighter than the lilac. So you can see the subtle color differences when you make this swatch chart. Then, of course, as I said, I have an Eagle Very Thin. So the Very Thin, I think it was an older brand than the Prismacolor Premier, but a very nice dark lavender color. This is also called lavender, but very, very dark. I would call this violet or purple. And then we have some of these other colors here. You can also see a Prismacolor Very Thin violet is even darker than the Eagle. So from the Eagle to Prismacolor Very Thin, you can still see the color difference here. It's very interesting. And then we have the Prismacolor Premier Violet, and that's the darkest of these 3 colors. Then we have the more purple colors here. I have an Eagle Prismacolor, and I do think that this one looks a little bit lighter than the other. Perhaps it's because there's an age difference between Eagle and Berol. And these two, they don't even match. And these two were both Berol Prismacolors. And then I have a dark purple. And then I have my really coup d'etat, my metallic purple, because one of the rare metallic discontinued colors from Prismacolor. You can see here, it says in the United States, it says Sanford Prismacolor PC 1045 metallic purple. So by buying this set, and I only gave, I think it was, can't remember if it was $20 or $23 for these 15 vintage pencils, and it was Canadian dollars, so not American dollars. And this included a metallic purple. I'm just saying that you can really make some great discoveries when you buy these vintage pencils. And at that point, I actually didn't know that there were metallic colors other than the gold and the bronze and the silver that I was used to in my current Prismacolor set. But there were other metallic colors that they had, and then they discontinued those. So that was some of the vintage pencils here. So when do you go from, just buying out of curiosity and necessity because you want the pencils and the colors, and then it gets a little bit funny to see what can you get when you buy vintage sets, and when do you become a true collector? I don't know, and I still don't know if I am a collector. I think that perhaps I'm a little bit, but my point of view is that you have to also use the coloring pencils because they were manufactured for you to use them. And even though they are old and vintage, you should use them. So here I have another set. I have my Pit Artist pen brush here, but all of these coloring pencils are also vintage coloring pencils. And perhaps it's a little bit difficult to see. I can take some of them out to show you. And I also have a swatch chart I want to show you. You can clearly see here, this one interesting. You can see here, USA Berol Prismacolors Color. And here, a Canada Berol Prismacolor. And just have to find it. I think it's one of these. Oh, that was also a Berol Prismacolor. I do know that I have one. Here it is. Eagle Prismacolor, True Blue. So this set is comprised of Prismacolor Scholars and Prismacolors from Berol. And I have the swatch chart here. And you can see here, again, a set consisting of 45 coloring pencils with a Berol and a Scholar. And you can see here, I don't have all colors represented. I do have a lot of browns in this set and some purples here. We have a Parma Violet, a Mauve again, and a light lavender. And you can clearly see the light lavender looks like it's pink. And only a couple of green colors, some blue colors, some yellow and ochre colors, and hardly any red. I have a Carmine red and a Tuscan red, and that was it. And the Poppy red in the Scholar range is very orange and not that red. And then we have a funny example here. You can see it says Scholar 404. And this is it. And this was called yellow bice in the old days. And you can clearly see and I have written chartreuse, but that is actually wrong, because if you look at my modern day swatch chart of the Prismacolor Premier, then you can see that the color it really matches is this, the yellow chartreuse. If I just, bend it a little bit and take the color here, you can clearly see that it matches the yellow chartreuse. So the yellow bice is very like this yellow chartreuse that they came up with after they discontinued some of the old colors. And again, this shows that a lot of the colors you find in the Scholar sets match the Prismacolor Premier color range. The difference between Prismacolor Scholars and Prismacolor Premier and the old Prismacolors is that this is not soft. This is harder in the lead, so it's not as soft as the Prismacolor Premier and the old Berol Prismacolors. But they are very nice to color with, and I will show you this one. This is from Stjernfall, the coloring book by Maria Trolle that I finished last summer. And I have a flip through of the entire book up on my channel, on my playlist called Completed Pages. So this page was done entirely with my vintage Prismacolors. I have just shown you the Berol Scholar, and also I used some Canadiana pencils from my pencil case that you saw just before. And I used the light lavender to color the background with the trees. I know it has a pinkish look, but that was because I had an accident with the other page here with some watercolors and stuff. So never mind that. But you can see here that they are very bright in the colors, despite that they are several decades old, these coloring pencils, with the light lavender, the blue colors and the green colors, and also the yellow and orange. They are very bright and beautiful, and they are very nice to work with. So even though the vintage, they are perhaps not meant for, you know, just looking, they are also meant for using, to use simply. This buy here is probably more of a collector's buy than a need to buy coloring pencils, because this is a Prismacolor 48 set from 1999, when it was Sanford that made these pencils, and Newell Rubbermaid produced them or something, I can't remember. But anyway, we have these 48 colors here. So when you have opened this and removed this plastic sheeting to protect the pencils, you can see that they are all here in these two trays, and all 48 colors are here, and these are the original colors that were in this set. And you can see from the tips, if I just, you know, push them down so you can see the length, you can clearly see that they are hardly used. One of the pencils that were used was used the most is this one, the apple green, of course. And you can see the USA stamp here, Sanford Prismacolor PC 912 apple green. So here they are, and here is a Sanford Prismacolor, and it is called Lilac. So let's see what color this is against my modern day Lilac. So you can see they are very close now to each other. This one by Sanford is just a tiny bit paler than the modern day Prismacolor Premier Lilac. And this pencil is from 1999, and this one is from, well, I think the set I had was produced in 2017, 18, 19, thereabouts. So you can see here from this to this to this during the time. So finally it's beginning to look like the lilac I have, and that I really, really love. And of course there will be, perhaps also with other of these pencils, a very slight color difference between these and the Prismacolor Premier later manufactured and produced in Mexico. But it's small details, and I do think that you could color with these in a coloring book and use these alongside the others, and you wouldn't really notice any difference. You can see here we also have a very beautiful chartreuse. So as I said, I think this was a collector's buy, or a collector's buy in that sense that I really wanted a set of these to, you know, to have the whole set. and with these colors that were meant to be in this set and not just random colors picked by a seller or what people just had. So I really wanted this set to have a set. But this is of course not the only one, because now we get to some of these things you haven't seen and that you don't know that I have acquired. So get yourself another cup of tea or a mug of coffee, and hold on to your hats and socks, because now it gets really, really interesting. So recently, and recently was in December, I was on eBay, you know, just browsing, and then I stumbled upon this. And this came without the lid, so I don't know which year. My guess is that they are from 1999 or thereabouts. And you, of course, cannot see how many there are. But if you take a guess on the biggest of these vintage sets from Sanford with the 120 coloring pencils, you are right. Except that this one lacks three. 3 pencils are missing. And of course I knew that when I bought them. I can't remember if it was an auction or if I just bought it, but I knew when I saw this I just had to have it. Really just had to have it. Even without the lid and anything. And you can just see here in the trays, here they are, except for the 3 colors missing. But here they are. Just take a look at these coloring pencils here. One tray. And the next tray. And here we have a complete color burst. And here you can see one of the pencils is missing here. Just have some foam here. And look at these beautiful, beautiful colors. I mean, the color on the barrels are, it looks even more bright than the current colors. I think that these are brighter in the barrel color than the Prismacolor Premier. So it's just like a color explosion. And then, oh yes, we have 2 pencils missing, but feast your eyes on the discontinued deco colors, because here they are. We have the Deco Blue here, which was, I have been told by others, a real customer favorite, and people were really angry when that was discontinued because they loved it. The Deco Aqua, and also here not the Deco Peach. Just have to find, and not the Deco Pink and not the Deco Yellow. Here it was. It was way over here, the Deco Orange. So if I just remove it and put it here, you can see that later they put some of the deco colors back, and that was, of course, the Deco Pink and Peach and Yellow. So we have those still in the Prismacolor Premier set now. But the Orange and Blue and Aqua completely vanished. So this is really rare, and they are in the 120 set, and that was one of the reasons I bought it, because I had heard at this point about these discontinued colors, and not only these deco colors, and they are really beautiful, but here in this last tray, oh yes, the neon colors and the metallic colors are here. And here we have, of course, the neon yellow, and we know the neon yellow, and we also know the neon orange and the neon pink, because we still have those neon colors in the Prismacolor Premier set. But here we have the neon red, the neon green, and then we have the electric blue. And the electric blue was their sort of neon color, neon blue color. But the neon green and the neon red, they are right here. And that's the disadvantage of round pencils, because they keep turning away from the camera. This is a little bit annoying, but you can see it here. Neon red, neon green. And you can see that gets, when you have these vintage pencils, the wax is a bit pale. There's sort of a white film coming over it, some sort of white residue. I think it's the wax. So we can't see the real color unless we sharpen them. And here we have the gold and the silver, we know, but look at this metallic copper. One of the rarest discontinued colors and very sought after by many, many colorists. And of course here, and this was the other way around, but here the metallic blue, and then you can guess it, we have the metallic green here. I have been told there was also some other colors of metallic. Was it maroon or something at a point? But in this set we have the metallic purple, just like the one I showed you earlier. So we know this color, and this is actually a color which is quite darker than you should think from the color on the barrel alone here. But so when I look at the neon colors, I realized that I had seen this neon red before. And here it is. It was actually in this pencil case with the first Prismacolor vintage pencils I bought. And I have never noticed because it had been like this in my pencil case. So I thought that it was a neon pink. But now I realized it was too dark to be the pink, and it says neon red. So this one is sharpened. So let's see what kind of color it is. I will just remove these. And please excuse the noises. It's Tiger. He is at it again. So look at that color. Wow. And if I have my swatch chart here, you can see the pink from the Prismacolor Premier. And here you can see the neon red. And you can see them almost side by side, that the neon red is really a red and not a pink color. But what now? How am I going to find out which 3 coloring pencils are missing? And what about all of these colors? Well, here is where I am not a collector, but I am a colorist. I have decided to sharpen all of these pencils and swatch them, and thereby begin to use these coloring pencils, including the discontinued colors, the rare colors also. This is what they look like when they have been sharpened. And I used my Dolly sharpener, and it worked like a dream, and they were so easy to sharpen. I dare say they were even easier than my modern day Prismacolors. So here we have the Parma Violet. You can see here a nice sharp tip here. And now you can also see here what beautiful colors are within these barrels here. And as I said in the beginning, when I got this set, there wasn't any lid, so I don't know when they're from. And some people may think, oh, she is nuts. Take a look at this. All of the metallic colors, the rare ones, the discontinued ones. Here we have the copper. You can see this tip here. Why did she sharpen it? Because I wanted to. The question also arises at some point, am I a collector or am I a colorist? And of course, as I said, I want to see these colors. We have the silver one here. We know this one. And here we have the metallic purple. And the metallic blue. Metallic green here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful colors. And the deco colors here. Deco blue. This reminds me of a light version of the non-photo blue. At least that was the impression I got when I swatched it. And this one, a lighter version of the light aqua. And well, we know deco yellow, but here we have the deco orange. And also, of course, the neon colors here. And here was particularly interested in the neon green, because I haven't seen this color at all. And the electric blue we know, and also the neon yellow and orange and pink and the red, because I swatched it earlier. But now we can see all of these beautiful colors. And as I said, 3 are missing. So I looked at the lid of, and here comes another surprise. I will just take these away. I have, of course, well, not of course, but I do have another set, and this set is full. 120 colors, and this one has a lid, and you can see here 120, and I can see what year it's from. It's from 1999, and this is a year where a lot of people have saved the sets. I tried to find out, but if you can see the colors here, and you can see, perhaps if I take it to the camera, that I have highlighted some colors. And also here. And that was because, well, I thought that if these 2 sets were identical, which they are not because I have just found out, then I would, I could find out what 3 colors are missing by, looking at all of these colors that's supposed to be in the set, and then look at the colors that I have from, the other set here with the 3 missing, and then find out what 3 pencils are missing. But I can't, because here, this color, PC 925, that's Crimson Lake. And Crimson Lake was not in the set I have just sharpened and swatched. This one, PC 926, was Carmine Red. And then we had Sand here, PC 940. And then down here, I think that I have found 2 of the missing pencils here. PC 1072, the French Gray 50% and the French Gray 90% here. PC 1076. Because they were not in the set, and all of the other French Gray and Cool Gray and Warm Gray colors were there. So I do think that 2 of the pencils I'm missing is the French Gray 50 and 90%. Then also I have here Black Cherry and then Violet Lake, or Blue Violet Lake as we know it. So they are all here in this, and the 4 metallic colors I couldn't find here. I could only find, the silver and the gold and the bronze, and then all of the deco colors and the neon colors. So in this set, I have all of the deco colors, it seems, and all of the neon colors, but not the 4 rare metallic colors. This gives me an idea that this set with the 3 missing pencils must be older than 1999, because these 4 metallic colors were not in the 1999 set. So this must be older. I think I have read somewhere that in the 1980s these colors were there, but if this set is from the 1980s or early 1990s, I don't know, because as I said, I don't have the lid, but I have a suspicion that this set is some years older than this set. And as I said, this set I bought after I had discovered the other. It was a man, and I think it was part of an inheritance, and he didn't know what this is worth, because this was way cheaper than the other set, and this is a complete set, as you can see here now. So you can see the pencils have just strayed a bit here, but they are all here, all 120 colors here. So if I just take this one out, and again, beautiful, beautiful colors, but all from 1999. And here we can see we have the deco colors here. And here we have the metallic colors here, gold and silver and bronze. Another lavender, another lilac. And here I have the neon colors. And here, the black cherry that wasn't in the other set. And the French gray, 70%. Well, I had that. And the warm gray, 90%. Well, I did have those, but this one, French gray, 90%. I didn't have that in the other set. You can also see here that They must have been removed or something. I can see a little bit of damage here with the barrel. Like some cuts or something in this one and also this one. So there is a bit more wear and tear with these pencils, but still a complete set. And because, of course, I knew that I had a complete set, then I didn't hesitate with sharpening the other. And here, what you perhaps is most interested in, the swatch chart. And you can see here that I have swatched the pencils, and I have here my old swatch chart with the Prismacolors that I made some years ago when I got them, you know, the Mexico ones made. And I do think that when I look at the colors, canary yellow, here we have yellowed orange, and here we have jasmine, that is over here. And we have Spanish orange. And here I have the sunburst yellow. It's a bit difficult, perhaps I can't lay them way beside each other. Perhaps with the purple ones I can. I mean, I really think that the colors are more pigmented and bright with this vintage set. Where did I put this? The magenta we have here. You can see it's a bit darker and way more pigmented. I mean, if you look at this, the lavender, that's almost pink from the Mexico set. And here you can really see the color. So beautiful. And Dahlia purple. Again, it's like they are much more pigmented. But of course you don't want to see all of these colors, because the colors that you are most interested in is of course the metallic colors, the deco colors, and the neon colors. So let's take a look at them. So here we have the swatch chart, the last page here with the metallic colors. And here you can see, well, the gold and the silver and the bronze. And we know these colors. I'm quite fond of the metallic bronze because I think it has such a nice brownish sort of glow to it. So I really like to use it in my Tales from Atlantis by Hannah Carlson. I think it's a really great color to some of these underwater plants or corals or whatever. But up here, you can clearly see these metal colors. And here you can see the metallic copper. So I'll bring it up close to the camera so that you can really see the color now. So it has a really nice sort of red glow. If you can see the gold here, I mean the metallic gold, it's also a bit more brown in it, but the metallic copper has a red tone to it. Really, really nice color. And then you can see the metallic blue, and this is way darker than I thought it would be. Again, never judge a pencil from the color of the barrel, but I think it's a really, really dark metallic blue color. Also compared to the other metallic sets I have, and some of the blues are way lighter, like the ice blue from the, was it the Derwent? The Derwent set. Also the metallic green, way darker than I thought. And then we have the metallic purple, but we already knew that color. So, but beautiful colors, and I can clearly see how you can use them. As far as a metallic glow, I think, if I have to be honest, I think that the silver has the most glow of these colors. Perhaps also a little bit with the gold and the copper. I don't think that the metallic bronze or blue or green or purple has a certain, well, you know, metallic glow to them. But perhaps that's just me. But if we look at the neon colors, I have to say, wow, they are, and again, I do think that these vintage pencils are way more pigmented than my Mexico-made Prismacolors, because take a look at that neon yellow. I mean, we know the color, but it's so bright, really shiny and bright, and also the orange and the pink. So the red actually looks a little bit paler than the neon yellow. And here we have the neon green, and it's a beautiful color. Really neon-like. but in a light way. You can see we have the electric blue, and we know the electric blue, and if I have to be honest, I don't think that it's nearly as neon-like as the other colors. And the one, but I have to say that the pencil itself worked really nicely, because the modern day electric blue, I have always thought that it was a weird pencil to use, so I don't use that color a lot. I think it's like it's pale, and the color pigments don't really come on or into the paper when you color with it. If you compare it to, you know, not photo blue or the true blue or other blue colors, I think that this one is sort of an anonymous and certainly not an electric blue color in the modern sets. But this old one, I do think that it works better and has a way nicer color, and it goes well down into the paper. And if we look at the deco colors here, you can see, well, I put the cream there because I have forgotten it at the other end with the white and the yellow. But if you look at the deco yellow, we know this color, and the deco pink and peach. But look at the orange and aqua and deco blue. I mean, wow. Oh my gosh. They're gorgeous. This deco aqua, as I said, a very nice pastel-like version of the light aqua, and the deco blue, a sort of light blue, a sort of light version of the not photo blue. Very nice pastel colors, and also the deco orange. I really think it works rather nicely. I think the deco peach has perhaps a more pinkish tone than the modern day deco peach. I could be wrong, but I do think that there's sort of a pinkish tone here. But here you can really see the orange. Beautiful, beautiful colors. And you know, colors worth coloring with in coloring books. Well, write your opinion down in the comments. And in the meantime, I will move on, because these were the normal Prismacolor pencils here, the vintage sets. But I have recently acquired something else, also vintage and also Prismacolor. So stay tuned. Prismacolor Watercolors. Oh yes, I found them on eBay, and there was a seller, and the seller had one set for about $20, and this seller had these two sets with a 24 and a 36 watercolor pencils for, I think it was about $22 or $23. Of course, I bought this set with the two tin boxes here, and I'm glad that I did, because it turned out that these are not from the same year. This set is from 1998, and this one is from 2003. So let's start by looking at this one, the 24 set, and you can see that they are here, and if I just push them here, you can see they were not very used when I bought them. You can see that this is the crimson red and the true blue. They were a bit more used than the others, and then I have sharpened them, also the terracotta. So I have just sharpened them, and they did not break when I sharpened them. They were very easy to sharpen, again in Mandali. And if I take one up here, well, I can take this one up. A bit difficult to get up here. You can see that we have the color here on the barrel. You can see it says USA, Sanford Prismacolor Watercolor. Then the color name here in French, like we know from the Prismacolors, and in English dark green, and then a gold coating here at the end. And then of course the color number, and you can see that the color numbers start with WC for watercolor, then the number 2, and then 908. So the color numbers are the same as the Prismacolor numbers, except that they are called PC and then 908 for the dark green. Can also see it here. We have the lilac as a watercolor, WC2 and 956, which is the number of the lilac. So let's take a look at the colors from this 1998 set, and you can see here that when I swatched them, I have of course did it dry here at one side and the other where I swatch them with water. And you can see that the colors are absolutely pigmented and very bright and strong colored. You can also see, if I put it up to the camera, that the pigments have dissolved completely. There's no lines or streaking or anything, just dissolved so easily. I am very impressed how easily they dissolved. And you can see with the sunburst yellow as an example, or the crimson red, or the true blue, or the Copenhagen, the terracotta and the dark umber, they are so bright and saturated with color, these watercolor pencils. I am, well, astounded. I didn't know that Prismacolor made watercolors until I saw these sets on eBay, but a quality watercolor pencil, I have to say, and I'm of course going to be using it in my coloring books. I only have, I have Neocolor 2s, they are not the same, and Inktense, again, not the same, but I have the Albrecht Dürer from Faber-Castell, that watercolor pencil, and when I did a review of them, I was impressed with the colors and how easily they also dissolved when you use the water. But I just have to say, I think that these are just that tad brighter and more color pigmented than the Faber-Castell. And they are really, really good, the Albrecht Dürer. It's their expensive brand of watercolor pencils. But I'm very, very satisfied with this buy. Really great. And also, I have to just say, when I put the color down on the paper, the tip was soft, just like we know it from the normal Prismacolor pencils. So soft pencils and easy to lay down, and beautiful, beautiful colors. So that was the old set from 1998. So the other set is 5 years younger, from 2003. And then the pencils are completely different. First of all, you can see here that they look different. You can see here that the barrel is now made of wood. It still says USA Sanford Prismacolor Watercolor, the color name in French and English. This is the pink one. And the color number WC2 and then 929, which is the color number for pink that we know from the Prismacolors. These were not that used. And then you look at this and say, oh, you're wrong. No, I'm not. The white one was the most used one of these. But I sharpened them, and these are not the same quality as the 1998 set. Because these, they broke when I sharpened them, and after I sharpened them and when I put them to the paper, then they broke. And the black one broke, and this one also broke a couple of times, and that is why it's so small compared to the others. I think that I lost 1.5 centimeters in total because of breakage. So when I put them down on the paper to swatch them, they were not entirely as soft as the other watercolor set and as Prismacolors normally are, both my vintage sets and my normal sets here, or modern sets. They were a bit more scratchy. They are still made in the United States, but I have to say, I'm sorry, my dog is really annoying under the table. Excuse me. Oh, he's chewing something that he's not supposed to chew on. Sorry. Oh, he was chewing this one. He must have found it under the table. So as I was saying, when I laid them down on the paper, these ones, they were not quite as soft as Prismacolors normally are. They were a bit scratchy, and again, that tip broke several times from different pencils. I also think that, they dissolved easily enough, just like the others, but I do think that the colors are not quite as saturated as these ones. I think that some of them are a bit more, not that bright. The sunburst yellow, I think it's a little paler. I also think that if you look here, I just have to find the right one. I mean, the carmine pink here and the carmine pink here, I think this one is a bit darker. And especially if you look at the crimson, I do think that this one is a bit more color saturated. Also with some of the blue colors and the lilac paler here, a bit more saturated here. It seems like there has been some differences in these 5 years that has passed from the first set to the second set. So if you're able to get a set from the 1990s, about 1998 or 9, with Prismacolor Watercolors, I would definitely recommend that you get then one of those sets if you want to try them. I'm not quite that impressed with this one, but they are still very pigmented, very bright in the colors, some of them at least. I do think that the dark umber was a bit brighter than the other one. This one is brighter and stronger than the other one here. But yeah, I do not regret this buy, and I think that I'm going to be using these a lot. So, goodbye. So what could I possibly have to show you now that I have shown you all of these vintage Prismacolors? Well, what about some Karismacolors from Berol, the original ones? On eBay, I found a store called Pilot Fish Pens. It's a UK store, and they had bought quite a lot of Karismacolors from when they, went out of sale, and they stopped producing them. And they have apparently had a lot of different colors, and the one listed now is the last color they have left, and it was called Bright Purple. And the number is 995. So I have seen Karismacolor sets. Are you absolutely out of your mind? They are expensive on eBay. And I would never give 800 or 900 pounds, I don't know what it is in dollars, probably $1,000, for some of these sets. I did see someone who had, I think it was 116 Karismacolors. I think there were some duplicates in it. Recently, I think it was in February, I saw it. And the price was so horrendous. Of course, you got them, and quite a few of them weren't very used. But, if you want to collect, it's perhaps fine. If you want to color with coloring pencils like I do, I think it's absolutely horrific how much they cost. But this store had them for a reasonable price because, as I said, it was a stock and they were selling out and they didn't have a lot left. I think that they had 5 sets left when I bought them. Unfortunately, because it was only 3 pencils you could get from the price, they did not package it very well. So what I ended up with, I thought that I would get 3, like this one. You can see something is missing here. And there is a bend here. But otherwise, you can see how they look. This cut angle here. The wooden barrel. Charisma Bright Purple, 995. And then made in the USA by Berol Karismacolor. And then the other 2, they were not packaged well, and you can see here, and they, yeah, it broke off because they were completely broken. I mean, this is just empty. All of the lead has disappeared until here. So this pencil, I have, well, a little over half a pencil that I can use. I also had to sharpen them because these were, of course, also broke. They were just in a normal envelope. I mean, come on, pencils in a normal envelope? You don't send pencils, and especially not vintage pencils, in an envelope. Come on. And you can see here, well, I might as well just break it off now. You can see here, oh, and this was broken. So I don't know how well this will work because it was so broken when I got it. And I was, and you can see the other one here before I begin lamenting over how sad and angry I was. You can see here also, you can just break it off. There was a little bit of the lead. And again, so I can see this one I have lead until here, but it was supposed to be like this, all of them. Oh my gosh. And now I have these. So I wrote them, of course I wrote them and complained. And then she said that they would send how I would, if I wanted my money back or if I wanted another set, because they still had some sets in stock. And I said, I want another set, but I want you to package it well. and not, you know, break my pencils and ruin them before I get them. So they sent another set, and this time they packaged it like they should. So now I have 3 completed whole Berol Karismacolors in this color, bright purple. So, and well, this one is also whole. You can see these two. It's so again, when you buy on eBay, you have to be careful with the sellers, and even business sellers. And they sold a ton of different things and were a renowned seller on eBay and had been there for many years and only got positive reviews and so on. But, you know, even them, the sellers like these can make mistakes. And so I was sad, I was angry, but now I have got my pencils and these are not broken, and these I can keep and I can color, and I can keep one just as it is. But when you send pencils, whether you are a professional business seller or a private seller, please package them well so they don't break. So since I've broken this one, let's use this one to put some color down on the paper. Oh, and this is a very, very nice color, this bright purple. Reminds me a bit of the mulberry. I know that this is the watercolor, but you can see here, does remind us a bit of the mulberry. Let's take a look at the swatch chart from the Prismacolors here. Did I have a mulberry? I can't remember. Didn't I have a mulberry? Oh, I have too many swatch charts now. Oh yes, I did have a mulberry. It's right here. So you can see this bright purple is really like the mulberry in the Prismacolor range. I do think it's the same color. You can see how close it is. If I bring it up to the camera, I hope you can see it. I think that these colors are really alike. So the bright purple, the mulberry, and this is a very nice color. I really like it. So yeah, but remember, when you are a seller, and whether you're a business seller or if you're a private seller, please don't package your coloring pencils, even if it's just one in a normal envelope. Please, please, please package them carefully so that the buyers can receive it in a good condition. Oh, you didn't expect him? This is Tiger. And he is absolutely dying to say hi to you. Hello, Tiger. So this is Tiger, and he wants to go out. So before I show you the big surprise, I better let him out of the door. And you can see we have to clean the window every day because we have a boxer. And he is quite a little messy dog. So you can watch my floor here, and then the big surprise, because the Karismacolors were not the big surprise for this video, but these are. And if I move closer, you can see it says Felicissimo. So the Felicissimo 500 coloring pencils, Japanese made. They are all handmade by different craftsmen in the area around Tokyo and Japan. And they were a big thing some years ago, and you could collect them. And I bought all of them from a Japanese seller on eBay. And you can also see that with some of them, the plastic is still on. I simply haven't had the time to open them, but you can also see here, I have opened some of them and I have swatched them. So now we are, of course, going to go in and look at them in just a minute. Oh, and you can see that lovely bouquet of flowers. I got that from my boss yesterday. I have been quite swamped in work because we had the annual school play where I work. And I was in charge of, you know, the props and the settings and all that. And then when we were finished last night, showing it off to the parents, and then all of us teachers got a very nice bouquet of flowers from our boss, the school leader, as a thank you for our hard work with the school play. So that is really nice, you know, to get some appreciation from your boss. So let's take these in to my studio and let's look at some of these wonderful Felissimo coloring pencils. Okay, we are back here in my studio, and you can see here that these coloring pencils are really well packaged here, and they are packaged in 2 boxes here, and these are just cardboard boxes. And you can see here we have the numbers. This is 11 and 12, and if I just try to remove some of this packaging here, we'll just unwrap these for you so you can see it. We have some bubble plastic around them also and in between, so they were extremely well protected during the transfer. And then you can see they are in this cardboard box, and if this and you can see here green colors. So each of these have their own name and sort of theme here. I haven't translated this one because I haven't swatched them yet. But you can see we have this swatch chart here. And then it says something about each and every one of the pencils and some small stories. And I will tell you with some of the sets I have swatched. And then you can take a look at the colors. And these are green colors. So this set is from dark green until the brightest and lightest of green colors. And with some teal colors also. So I think that a lot of people began collecting them, and then they just gave up because there are so many coloring pencils. I have said that I will never have a Color or Brut Fune, you know, with the 500 sets, but with this one, I just had to make an exception because, as I said before, these are handmade by different craftsmen in Tokyo, and they are not, you know, produced in a factory, but they are produced by hand in small workshops in Tokyo and the area around Tokyo. And I do believe that in supporting small businesses and craftsmanship, you know, so the knowledge about making coloring pencil isn't lost. So let's take a look at some of these that I have opened and swatched. And you can see here, I have written just to myself here, these are the pencils numbered from 476 until 500. So I didn't begin from the beginning, I began from the end, and I'm working my way up through to the first one of these. You can see these are pink colors. And when I open it, it looks like this because this I have translated. And you can see that we have the colors here. And here it says Black Cherry Pie. And this is an introduction to the color. But the color itself is called Sugar Frost, or Sarah Jane, or Arizona Sunset, or Jelly Bean, or Mistress Mary, or Sweet Wine, or Rosebud, or Cherry Whisper. So they have these really cool names, I just have to say. Really nice, cool names. Flower Bed. And this is a set with only pink colors. And now you can really see the colors here. Aren't they just absolutely gorgeous if you like pink and purple colors here? From the lightest and brightest to more muted tones to bright colors, dark and light. Absolutely just stunning and beautiful. And then it says something about the people, you know, who could use this. This is an artist type. This color stands for sincerity and compassion, or health, or whatever it is. So this is just, you know, typical Japanese. You can see the light colors I have swatched here. Blush pink, powder puff, raspberry. And then, unfortunately, again, I don't know why I'm so cursed with bad luck when I buy coloring pencils. Unfortunately, this color wasn't in it. I had 2 of the same color, I found out, with this particular set here with these 25 pencils. So very, very annoying. Can't remember if it was 2 of the blush pink I had or 2 of the rose hip. But I am actually missing number 472. So I have 499 of the Felissimo coloring pencils. If any of you have this pencil or know where I can get it, please write it in the comments or write to me. I would really like to have it because I have not got it. And I don't know the color name because it's on the pencil and I don't have it. So I couldn't write it down, unfortunately. But gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous pencils. And when I say bad luck, if you're new to my channel, you can just, you know, see my review of the Derwent Lightfast, where I also had 2 of the Midnight Black and only 1 or none of the Midnight Blue. But look what Derwent sent to me when I wrote them. I have just gotten the Midnight Blue, so I have it now. And the first time was with my Black Widows. I think it was the Monarch set. Also a pencil missing. Or was it I think it was a Dragon set, actually. 1 pencil missing. 2 the same. I am just filled with bad luck and pencils. I don't know why. Oh yes, you can see here the blue, purple, violet colors here. So a collection of these. So I have a lot of purple, blue and green sets, some pink and reds. I haven't really gotten to the yellow, and I think I have 1 or 2 with brown pencils. But you can also see here that, oh, you can see the names here. Purple Passion, Blue Midnight, Purple Mountain, Purple Majesty, Pansy, Evening Sky, Lavender Blue, normal name, but Carpet of Violets. I mean, the color Carpet of Violets. You don't find it anywhere else. Grandma's Ring. Again, you don't find it anywhere else. Love it. Just love this one. And did I buy these to be a collector? No, I didn't. I love the colors. And I imagine that I would like to use these in, you know, some sort of more limited color palette colorings. I will definitely sharpen them and use them now that I have them. And I think that because we have a set here of 25 pencils in a limited color palette, these are actually ideal for coloring in limited color palettes. So perhaps coloring monochromatic with only blue pencils or red pencils or green pencils or whatever it could be. So that was the last of my collection here. That was it for my vintage colored pencil collection. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and you just happened to stumble upon this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and keep supporting my work here. I have a lot of reviews, color along, color and chats, and all sorts of different videos, probably some to your liking. Well, I certainly hope so. This was the second video in my collection of art things. The third and last will of course be my art supplies collection. That is not coloring pencils, vintage or new and modern, but of course all of the other supplies I use when I create my art and my colorings in coloring books. So stay tuned on my channel for this video in a couple of weeks. Upcoming videos, I have promised you a color and chat with Erie, and you have chosen the page with the house for rent, and it is coming. Be patient. I just have had too much work with that school play to make it, but it is coming. And also, of course, more coloring videos and a new little series. Stay tuned for that. So until I see you in the next video, have a lovely day. Enjoy the spring. Take care of yourself. Happy coloring. Bye.